Why am I using 54% of my
I'm not gonna respond to that. I already used too many words. I was told by my handler, don't talk on this because I will shove my foot in my mouth. Just don't do that. Just move on. Just move on. It's dumb. How could you even think that just because I was in charge of policy with the Ukraine as vice president, and just because I actually told the government that if they didn't fire the prosecutor that was looking into the company that my son was involved in, and he was getting paid $50,000 a year, and he didn't know jack diddly dick about his job.
Abadan, can you hear me?
That was inappropriate, or that I did anything wrong. Even though I sat and I bragged about the fact I got this guy.
Can you hear me, Abadan? And if you can hear me, do I have an echo, or am I better right now?
This is just such a dumb question.
Yes, you can hear me. Yes, I have an echo, or yes, you can hear me. You're the only one here, man.
Very simple. It's very simple. All you gotta do is follow the Constitution.
Better. Okay, cool. There's no echo like there was last time. I think I figured it out.
She says, Senator Kamala Harris said that if she is elected president,
Okay.
she will give Congress
I can hear you, no echo. Cool. Cool,
If they
cool,
don't,
cool,
she'll
cool.
take matters into her own
Cool, cool, cool.
hands, she said during the CNN town hall. Wow, that doesn't sound like a dictatorial.
What's going on, guys? I'm hoping it's better tonight, though I didn't get a full chance to go through my system and see what was happening other than with the echo. I hope I don't have that any longer. I did make a chat, so whoever's watching me in YouTube, if you could also, if you guys get some YouTube chat going there and seeing what the live chat, if the live chat is working, before I dive into these articles, I want to make sure we can see chat too. I hesitate to open up this, let me, somebody out there in YouTube world, throw something up in the chat if you can. I guess maybe I do need to open up my YouTube and see if the chat's coming through. Unless somebody does that real quick. Hang on a second here. Background music. Oh yeah, I don't have that on this one. Have it on this one though. And unmute that. Okay, cool. I'm gonna open up my YouTube channel real quick, like if I can. Maybe I've already disconnected. No, maybe, huh? Why isn't that going? God, there's something going on with my internet. I'm supposed to have 50 down, and I did a test on it before I started today, and it was like showing 10 down, which is weird. Okay, let me go back to normal side here. Yeah, Jesus, what is wrong? There we go. Normal view, default view. I want to put something up in here. Does this work? Okay, so that's not coming through here. Wonder why. Interesting. Is my live chat up for... I guess you wouldn't be able to chat me if it isn't. Why is live chat not working? I mean, I can put it up there, but it's not. I don't see anybody else up there, and I can't imagine. Is anybody in the YouTube world that's hearing me? Can you chat? And if you can't, maybe run over to DLive if one of you guys are on DLive, because I don't know why why the chat's not working on my manage toggle pop-outs. Why is my chat not working? Because I think I would have heard people on YouTube by now or seen people chat. something by YouTube by now. Interesting. What the frick is going? They're screwing with me. That is weird if you guys can't chat on YouTube. I see that I got 3 people on there, but I can see Abaddon 187. I can see your chat. I just can't see anybody else's, and I don't know what the hell's going on. And that's frustrating me. Interesting. Why is that? Live chat not working. Yeah, and I got 2 people like watching now. Christ. Live chat not working. Live chat not working. YouTube. Shalom. Hey, what's going on, Periscope? Got a Periscope chat up in here because I put it so that, yeah, seriously. I put it so that all the chats should be coming through now so we can all see. Abaddon, can you see that in the chat, in your chat? Can you see Cohen's chat who said shalom? Manage live chat, YouTube. Live chat not working. Live chat replay is not. I'm just doing a quick Google search here because I'm trying to live chat. Live chat is enabled by default and will appear on the right of the video player when your live stream is active. After the live stream ends, you will see the live chat play a stream live module. It does not better player. Live chat is not available if your channel or live stream audience is set as made for kids. Viewers can choose between 2 views of the live chat at any time. Oh, did I set this one to kids? Is that why? Yes, cool. You can see him. Awesome. Good. That was the point. I fixed that so everybody from the different platforms can communicate. Except YouTube, which I'm sure we have YouTube people that would be chatting by now. So is this one set for kids? Because it's not supposed to be. And if that is the case, that's got to be the... Oh, no, wait. I did get one. Volume is a bit low on your end. Oh, okay. Can you hear me now? Check 1. Let me pull this up a little bit. I did, but see, now you're not coming through Restream. Check 1, 2. Check. Redcap Goblin. Chat again for me, please. Redcap, thank you. There you go. Is that better? You can hear better now? Redcap Goblin. Why are you not coming through on my chat in Restream? Okay, but you can, yeah, you can see this, right? So I just want to make sure you can see what I'm typing. Tell me if you could see what I just typed up there. I'm sure you probably can, but you're not coming through on Restream. If that's the case, no big deal. At least YouTubers can chat with one another, and then the other guys can chat with one another. And I'll have to figure this out on the back end. Yes, I can see. Okay, good. All right, let's move on then. All right, we're good. I don't know why you're not coming through on the Restream chat, but mic check in Periscope is good. Okay, good. We're good. Good. All right, so tonight I wanted to talk about what's happening in Syria. It's with all the news on the coronavirus that's been happening, we have been so consumed with the almighty COVID-19 that so I jumped on just to check other news tonight. And I saw what happened over in Turkey, Turkey and Syria. Did anybody know about that? Anybody in the chat? You can sound off. Take you a second to get back to me, but I'm not going to wait for your answer. But if you're not aware, we are on the verge. Turkey is asking, yeah, it is underwhelming. Turkey is asking its NATO allies under Article 5 of the NATO alliance to back it up and to respond against Syria militarily. Which means we would be getting into it with Russia also, because Russia, as we all know, has been backing up Syria. This has far-reaching and very important implications, because it means that we could be getting into a war a direct conflict war with Syria, which by default means a direct conflict war with Russia, which means a full-fledged, it could spark off a full-fledged hot war with Russia, which we all know could turn into a really bad situation really quickly. So what is happening is Turkey, and I'm going to read a couple articles here, but I'll just kind of tell you what I know off the top of my head. Turkey has went into Idlib, or Idlib, I think it's Idlib. I don't know. They have such weird, stupid names. Yeah. Idlib. They've went into Idlib to God knows why. Turkey talked about it when we were pulling out. When Trump said we were pulling out of Syria and then just moved the troops over to guard Syria's oil fields, which was weird to me. It's like, if you're going to pull the troops out, pull them out all the way. Don't just move them over to guard an oil field that isn't even your oil field. And they said they were guarding it so that ISIS and, some of these other jihadists wouldn't take control of that oil field, because then they were selling that oil allegedly for the funding of their, war to take out the big bad Bashar al-Assad, who was a sovereign, democratically elected, leader of another country that we got all up in the business of, right? And we got all after and we started attacking, or we went after and we helped attack. This goes back to the Obama administration, when Obama was backing Syrian rebels and he was calling them freedom fighters, right? These freedom fighters were Al-Qaeda linked terrorists that were actively trying to just depose Bashar al-Assad. Bashar al-Assad was trying to, and this is not a defense against Bashar al-Assad. I don't know enough about him to say if he's good or he's bad, but it's his own damn country and we shouldn't be involved in it. This is something, if you guys have followed me for a while, I've been very consistent on, very, very consistent on. I don't think we should be in these foreign wars doing fighting and having our troops over there. And I hate war. And when it comes to Trump, this is an area of my contention with him that I have not supported his policy, his active policy on. I was greatly supportive of what he said he wanted to do, which was pull all the troops out of these needless wars and not start a bunch of other ones. And I was all for him. And then nothing has happened. And I think a lot of the reasons why none of this has happened is, number one, he hasn't been able to give it enough focus because he's been so tied up, with the impeachment and everyone, all the Dems trying to just constantly, impinge upon him wanting to, do the things we elected him to do. So he's been so distracted with all that. But he also has surrounded himself with a lot of war hawks, a lot of people that are simply interested in getting the country involved in war, getting our troops involved in wars that we don't need to be involved in, that we shouldn't be involved in, that we have no part of being involved in. And so he's had a lot of bad influences around him, and it's bothered me that, he says he picks the best people, and this is not a tear against him completely, so don't take it as such. I'm going to call it as I see it, though. And if you have a problem with that, I'm really sorry. He says he can put the best people around him, but he has failed in a lot of ways to put the best people around him. And I kind of think that goes to because he wants to trust people. He actually does want to trust and believe in people. And the swamp goes way deeper. He recently said that the swamp was way bigger than he realized. But having said that, so the Obama administration, and then by default, when it came to the Trump administration, we were backing these rebels, these freedom fighters that were taking out Assad, that were actually jihadists, that were actually, terrorists. The ones that were fighting, the same ones that are affiliated with the same people that we've been fighting in Afghanistan for the last 20 years are the ones that we were supporting in Syria. It doesn't make sense, right? The same ones that is now proven by the OPCW that actually perpetrated the gas attacks and then tried to blame it on Assad. It wasn't Assad. Assad never gassed any of his people. That's been that's debunked now. If you don't know that, then you no fault of your own, but you've heard too much from our mainstream media that said Assad gassed his own people. He never gassed his own people. It has been proven that was actually done by the rebels over there, that it was a false flag trying to pin it on him. The white helmets, you hear about the white helmets. The white helmets are nothing more than a propaganda wing for the anti-Assad, the anti-Assad group, if you will. So anyways, we back out, we pull into Syria. We tell Turkey, don't be coming in here. Don't be coming down here into the Kurdish area, or where the Kurds were and all that. Let's not get involved with that. Stay out of that. Don't come down into Syria. Stay out of Syria. Don't push your forces down there. And Turkey gave us a few days said within X amount of days, if your troops aren't out of the way, we're pushing into Idlib, and we're going to do it. We weren't for it. We thought it wasn't a good idea, allegedly. So Turkey is in Syrian sovereign land, right? They're in the sovereign country. They're by all accounts, the aggressors and infiltrators into another sovereign country. And so Syria's government is trying to push out the last stronghold of the jihadists up in Idlib, and we're trying to push these guys out and regain control of their country. And so these Turkey forces were breaking news came out. I'm going to read the article that they were actually joining forces with some of these jihadists, which are called the freedom or the rebel fighters, right? That's how we term them over here. In reality, they're just a bunch of, donkey riding, jihadists. So Syria launches an airstrike on them and kills somewhere in the neighborhood of 33 of the Turkey soldiers. The reason this is a big deal is because Turkey is at least in title, right? On paper, they are a NATO ally of ours. And there's Article 5 says an attack on one of these NATO allies is attack on all of us. So right now, Erdogan, who is a pretty brutal dictator himself, Erdogan is now calling on the U.S. to back him on a retaliation against Syria. Well, as I just mentioned earlier, Syria and Russia are good buddies. They're allies. And Russia's been helping them regain control of their country. And so now if we respond to them, we'll be responding against Russia too. And that is going to get out of hand, could get out of hand very quickly. Here's the thing I find so interesting about it is Turkey's been giving us the big middle finger lately anyways in the last year. And especially within the last, I think, 8 months, they've really been warming up to Russia, which is kind of weird. They bought the Russia S-400 missile system against our wishes and against our, desires. And, against our counsel, they partnered up with Russia and bought some S-400 missiles from Russia. We didn't want them to do that. Now they're asking for Patriot missiles, and we're saying, well, you're going to have to make those S-400 missiles inoperable before we're even talking. But before, Turkey was warming up to Russia and giving us the middle finger. Now Turkey gets attacked for being in Syria, right? For being in the sovereign lands of Syria. Syria retaliates against them. And now Turkey's coming to us and saying, we want you to help bail us out of this. So I just think this is a shit show of all shit shows. And it is something that makes no sense anymore, as Abaddon just said. It does not make sense anymore. We were supplying, and through Obama, right, we were supplying the terrorists that were trying to depose a democratically elected leader in Syria. And it's been a while since I used to be really deep into all this or following it closely. It's been a while because I've been so caught up with the impeachment and our political debates and ramblings and all these little freaking low vibration stuff that my mind's been getting caught up in. And I'm trying to pull the cobwebs out and get back focused on the bigger picture and talk about some of the things that I used to be more focused on that I think really matter. So anyways, sorry, I didn't mean to get distracted. That's why I can't look at the chats. I get distracted on them. So anyways, Obama. So yeah, sorry, I got totally distracted. My bad. Obama is supplying the jihadists. They're trying to depose Bashar al-Assad. We hate them because they're allies with Iran, right? And we call them, there's a proxy of Iran and so on and so forth. But we were trying to, under the guise of not under a, basically, you know, a proxy war, giving weapons to the Syrian rebels to take out Assad. And by the way, that ties back to Libya, right? And what happened in Libya when our embassy was attacked in Libya, and when Hillary was at the helm of being Secretary of State. That ties into that, because that whole debacle has ties to Libya was running weapons. We were running weapons through Libya up to Syria, arming the Syrian rebels. And that's what a lot of people don't know and don't talk about, that there was a lot to do with that when it came to the Syrian or the Libyan attack. But at any rate, going back even further, why we wanted to get involved, we said it was because humanitarian, and we said it's because Bashar al-Assad was so bad. And we said that's why we need to go in there and we need to take him out. But in reality, there was a pipeline that that Qatar wanted to run right through the middle of Syria. And Syria said, no, we're not going to do that. And then shortly after that, that's when Syria started getting demonized, and Bashar al-Assad was terrible and was horrible to his people, even though Christians were living there in peace at that time. Muslims and Christians were living side by side in peace under Bashar al-Assad's rule before we started getting in the mix. And now look at the shit show and the refugee crisis that we've caused over there with these stupid wars that we should have no damn part in. And I do get fired up when I think about this. We should have no freaking part of any of these. We should be pulling all of our troops back. We should get them out of Iraq. We should get them out of Syria. We should get them out of Afghanistan. We should pull them all home. And we should let these shithole areas over in the Middle East just deal with it their own damn selves. And if anybody flexes on us, if anybody does anything to us, and we turn them into a fucking parking lot. That's how I look at it. That's what I think about it. That's how I view it. That's how that in my mind is the is the best way to handle this. Just get our troops out, bring them home, and if anybody screws with us, we turn them into a effing parking lot. And we get in and we get out. So, anyways, this is where I have been feeling frustrated about these certain things. So today, it happens that we're on the cusp of, I don't want to be too dramatic here, right? And I don't want to be hyperbolic, but we're on the cusp of potentially a direct conflict with Russia. And if that happens, it could ignite a far wider reaching conflict. Dare I say it, a World War III. I mean, it could be the spark that sets it off. Now, do I think it's going to go that far? It's too early to tell. Hopefully cooler heads will probably prevail. But the potential is there. The potential is to screw now with Russia directly. And it's all because Turkey is in Syria? And Syria is defending its own area and saying, get the hell out, and pushing back on Turkey. And now all of a sudden, we need to come to Turkey's aid when they've been giving us the middle finger, and we need to come to their aid and, push back against Syria and directly come in, go at it for, go at it with Syria and Russia. No, F that. This is absolutely just insanity to me. It's stupid effing insanity to me. So I have an article here, a couple different ones. That's not the one. That's just me. Let me re-cue that one up. That was the wrong one. Here we go. That's the one. What the hell? What chat window? That's my capture window is why. Okay. Sorry about this. There we go. Minor faux pas on my behalf. I'm going to pull that open so maybe you guys can see it a little bit better. And I can read it a little bit better. Make it so you guys can actually read it with me if you want to. We'll read this New York Times article, even though I can't stand the New York Times. And then we'll also go through a couple of these other RT ones. So let's read it from our propaganda, the New York Times, and we'll read it from Russia's propaganda, and we'll see where the two meet, right? And we'll see where we meet in the middle in this one. It says, the Turkey army suffered mass casualties in an airstrike in northwest Syria late Thursday. an attack that could dramatically change the course of the Syrian war as fears grow of a direct conflict between Russia and Turkey, a NATO member. At least 33 Turkish soldiers were killed, and more than 30 wounded, said Rami Dogan. Rami Dogan, the Turkish governor of the southern province of Hatay, where the Turkish casualties were arriving. Turkish officials said the strike had been carried out by Syrian government forces, but Russian jets had been conducting most of the airstrikes in the area in recent weeks. So do you see how she slides that in here? Because this is coming from the New York Times, right? So we got to be on the Russia. We got to be on the demonized Russia on every turn we possibly can, right? We got to be the scared, Russia. So she slides that in there and says it's, the Syrian government forces, but it's where Russia's been doing all the airstrikes, so it could have been Russia, and that's what she's trying to say right there. Turkish protesters in Istanbul converged on the Russian consulate earlier Friday, chanting, "Murder Russia, murder Putin." Turkish, Putin, man, he's the big devil. Turkish officials have avoided blaming the Russian government for aggression against their forces in Syria, hoping to avoid a direct confrontation with Russia's much stronger military and to keep a line open for talks with Russian President Vladimir Putin. Russian officials could not be reached for comment late on Thursday. President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, we'll just call him Erdogan. Erdogan of Turkey convened an emergency meeting Thursday evening in Ankara, Turkish media reported, and Turkish forces began retaliating Thursday against Syrian forces in northeastern Idlib province. Turkey has long supported opposition forces in, damn it, stay with me, stay here, it will come back. Yeah. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that brief interruption for my stupid OBS that I got to figure out why it's doing this. It's OBS that's doing it. I don't know. Yeah, damn it. I'm just so effing... Uh-oh, it's going yellow, it's going orange, it's going yellow, it's going green. I'm trying to watch my internet there. Hey, that's funny, though. Bringing it back, dang, it just was getting good. You're back. Okay. It says, so Turkey's long supported opposition forces. So what she's saying right here, opposition forces, right? She says opposition forces. No, it isn't opposition forces. What it is jihadist terrorists. That's who these people are. They're not opposition forces. They're jihadist terrorists. They're Al-Qaeda linked terrorists that are trying to depose a democratically elected, you can call him a dictator, but he's a sovereign leader of a country. And these people are, infiltrating his country and trying to depose him and trying to take over his country. He's fighting back like any leader should when a bunch of little cockroaches come in and try to take him out. He's fighting back against it. He should be doing that. So they're not opposition forces, but they word it here so sweetly and nicely. Like it's like Turkey, like Syria is the bad guy, and Turkey and these opposition forces are the good guys. His government, backed by Russian warplanes, is fighting in Idlib to retake the country's last rebel-held province. In the past 3 months, the intensified fighting there has been driven nearly 1 million people from their homes, creating a humanitarian crisis. Oh, cool! Actually. We have we now have everybody mixed together. That one last little cutout got all the chats going. So now everybody can talk to everybody. Good. Something good worked out of that. The intensified fighting there has been driven nearly 1 million people from their homes, creating a humanitarian crisis on Turkey's border. In recent tensions between the two sides have been rising, increasing fear of a war breaking out between Turkey and Russia, which controls the airspace in northwestern Syria. I'm going to reread that. In recent days, tensions between the two sides have been rising, increasing fears of a war breaking out between Turkey and Russia, which controls the airspace in northwestern Russia, who controls the airspace in northwestern Syria. Erdogan has called for Syrian government and Russian forces to cease their offensive in Idlib and pull back from Turkish positions. Think about that. The Turkish president is saying, I know I'm in your country, but pull back from my troops that are in your country that you're trying to get out of your country. Pull back. I'm in your country, but I don't care. You pull back and you don't try to get me out of your country. You pull your guys back. Would we do that if someone was in, let's say, Michigan? Well, maybe if they were in Michigan, we could say, okay, you can have it. Or California, we might say, all right, you can have it. But no, seriously, if there was a portion of, let's say, Russia was was coming down into our country, and they were in a small little portion of our country, and we were surrounding them, and we were pushing back on them to get them out of our country, and they said, hey, wait, don't, you need to pull back. And Putin was telling us, you need to pull back. You can't surround my troops here in Maine or in Michigan or in California. You can't do that. We'd be like, screw you, we can't do that. You're in our country. Get the hell out or we're going to blow your shit up. Erdogan has called for Syrian government and Russian forces to cease their offensive in Idlib and pull back from Turkish positions, which have been encircled and cut off by Syrian government forces. They've been cut off because they're in Syria. He has also called for Turkish-controlled safe zone in the region for the displaced civilians. Well, the displaced civilians, as terrible as that is not Syria's fault, or Bashar's fault or Russia's fault. It's our ass's fault. It's all the people that have been pushing into Syria that have caused this war there, that have caused this displacement of refugees. It's not the Syrian government's fault. And I'm not defending Syria because I love Syria. I'm saying what's right is right, and this is not right, or maybe what's wrong is wrong. So. Okay, sorry. Thought I was disconnecting again. I was going to lose my shit. Turkey has deployed thousands of troops into the province to stem the Syrian government's advance, but has been severely hampered by the lack of air support. Russia has been conducting a blistering air campaign across the province, bombing hospitals, schools, residential buildings, killing at least 300 people in 3 months. Okay, so now here's where she says they've been just they've been bombing these innocent people, these innocent establishments. These innocent establishments are being infiltrated by these jihadist terrorists, right? And so they've been trying to take them out, and they've been trying, and I've read article after article after article that they've been very surgical. They have not just been carpet bombing these places indiscriminately, not caring if they're killing their own civilians. They're surgically trying to go after these people. And are we in any position to talk about civilian casualties when we're going after the bad guys? When we're going after and we're sending drone strikes into people and killing, some of these bad terrorists that are out there in the middle of, and how many thousands upon thousands of drone strikes Obama's done, and quite frankly, Trump has done. Are we complaining about the civilians that die in those? I know we take every precaution not to let that happen, but so does Syria. He's taking precautions, but yeah, there is some fallout from these ugly wars that they didn't start. We've been starting it with them. The hypocrisy here drives me fucking crazy. Turkey's asking the United States. Turkey's asking the United States for Patriot missiles to help defend its troops and called for NATO to enforce a no-fly zone to protect nearly 3 million civilians in the Idlib province. But Washington and NATO members have so far refused to engage military in the northwest Syria out of reluctance to confront Russia. Western officials said the United States is withholding Patriot missiles until Turkey agrees to render its Russian S-400 missile systems inoperable. So we're holding back from directly, attacking, or responding to Russia. And then we're also saying, and by the way, Turkey, you bought those S-400. You got in the bed with the devil. You got in the bed with old Putin and bought his missiles. So before we give you any, you need to get rid of those. So it's kind of a little bit of both things of us not wanting to screw with them, but also saying, no, too bad. You got in bed with Russia, which quite frankly is what I feel too. Turkey's been playing both sides of the fence. Fuck Turkey. I don't give a shit. I'm sorry. I don't give a shit. They're not our ally. We pretend like they're our ally. They're not our ally. They don't like us. You can go back and read articles about all the shit Erdogan was saying about us here just a few months ago and was getting all up in our shit about, and cozying up to Russia. Screw them. This is not worth American lives to me. This is not worth American lives. It is not worth American lives. We should pull all our boys out of there and say, you guys just dust our hands up, say, you guys deal with it. We're done. We're not doing this. And then there's another article I read. Little Marco Rubio was all like, "We need to do something. That Turkey is on the right side of history on this, and we need to back them up." And screw you, you frickin' war hawks, you neocon war hawks that just want nothing but war and want our boys' blood spilt for what? For what? Fucking pisses me off. I'm sorry. I'm going to start dropping some F-bombs. I'm just mad. I know there's some people here with delicate ears, but I don't. It pisses me off, man. Pisses me off. Turkey is a NATO member, prompting fears in the West that an attack on Turkey could require a response by allies in Europe and North America, dramatically escalating Syria's already complex war. And that is an understatement right there when it says that it could dramatically escalate Syria's already complex war. It could turn into a full-fledged, way larger confrontation. And by the way, Iran is Syria's ally. Russia is Syria's ally. China is Russia's ally, right? So if all of a sudden Russia gets mixed up in it, then Iran's getting mixed up in it, then China's getting mixed up in it, and no one's been talking about what's going on in the South China Sea also. That's been swept under the rug, right? Where we've been flexing our muscles in the South China Sea. I'm telling you, the tinderbox is getting really dry, and somebody's sprinkling a little lighter fluid all over it. And we have sparks falling all over the place, and it's just going to take one spark to set this stuff off. So we're going to know a lot more about this tomorrow. This is really breaking. This happened later on in the evening tonight, our time. And Erdogan is reaching out to Mark Espers, to NATO allies, and he's going to respond. How he responds and how we respond is going to dictate what happens with this. It nothing may come of it, right? Or something very big may come of it. The attack against Turkey is an attack against NATO, Omar Salik, the spokesperson for Erdogan's Justice Development Party, said on CNN Turk News Channel. CNN. NATO should have been with Turkey, not starting today, but from before these events. We are expecting concrete actions on a safe zone and a no-fly zone. We all know what a no-fly zone means. That means that we put missiles up and we send planes out there, and anybody gets into this airspace or does anything, we shoot them down. And that means it doesn't matter if it's a Russian aircraft or a Syrian aircraft or an Iranian aircraft, although it wouldn't be Iranian, but be Russian or Syrian aircraft, we're going to shoot it down. And we're going to be directly now involved in a one-on-one confrontation with one of these other countries. That's what a no-fly zone. A no-fly zone sounds so pretty. No, what a no-fly zone is what we did in Libya. Couldn't fight back. Libya didn't have anything. We did the no-fly zone, and then look what, Libya went to shit. Libya is a complete shithole now. Complete shithole now. You want to talk about slave trade? You want to talk about a complete and total just anarchic zone? It's Libya right now. Thank you, Hillary Clinton. Thank you, Obama. There was no immediate comment from the White House, but President Trump has made it clear that he would like to keep out of the conflict. I hope he sticks to that. I hope he sticks to that no matter who says what. That is the right thing to do, and I hope he stays to that. If he stays to that, I am going to have I'm going to have my appreciation, respect, whatever you want to call it, it's going to skyrocket for him if he stays out of this. And has previously ordered American troops to leave Syria. Well, not really. Let's be real. He didn't really order them to leave Syria. We just moved them. We had a few leave, and then we just moved the others to guard the oil. Not our oil, Syria's oil, which is a little fucked up to me, too. But on Wednesday, Defense Secretary Mark T. Espers told members of the House Armed Services Committee the United States was not looking to reassert its presence there. Good. I hope they stick to this, man. There has not been the discussion about re-engaging the civil war, he said. We think the best path forward is through the UN process that is underway. Several American officials, however, reacted to the airstrike on Thursday with alarm. The prospects of a direct military confrontation between Turkey and Russia in Syria are very high and increasing by the hour, Senator Marco Rubio. That little shit. I can't stand Marco Rubio. What a little prick. What a little warmongering asshole who's never been in the service, never done anything for his country other than be a little slimeball shithead. I can't stand Marco Rubio. Suck a dick, Marco Rubio. Republican Florida said in a tweet, Mr. Erdogan, he said, is on the right side here. Putin and Assad are responsible for this horrific humanitarian catastrophe. No, they're fucking not. Oh my gosh, I'm really going to hurt people's ears here and make people not like me because there's a lot of like sensitive ears. But I get so fired up with this, man. I get so fired up with this because this is not Syria and Russia's fault. This is quite frankly, us doing some dirty work for Israel, number one. And also, it is Obama's administration, and it's us on the side of Saudi Arabia doing Qatar and Saudi Arabia's dirty business by trying to start a conflict there, and by arming rebels who are jihadists and who are Al-Qaeda and disrupting and turning it into another Libya. And don't forget what General Wesley Clark said back in 2002, that there was several nation states in the sights of America by the neocon industrial war complex, the military industrial war complex, the cabal that wanted us in war all over the place, the swamp, if you want to call it, that have wanted it. Back in 2002 or 2003, he was informed that we were going into Libya, we were going into Syria, we were going after Iran, we were going into Afghanistan, we were going into Iraq, we were going into all these places, and we were going to take over. And Syria and Iran were on those lists. And most of the other places we've already done it. These are the two that we've still been trying to get at. And here's where we're really trying to get at them. And now it's finally possibly could happen. And if Hillary Clinton was in there right now, we'd already be at fucking war with these people. We'd already been in Iran. We would have already attacked Russia. We would have already been in a massive conflagration war. You know, whatever. We would have been in a major situation by now. And so I am really hoping that Trump and Esper, he has the right people in his ear right now. He has the right people in his ear that are going to speak some sanity and keep some sanity in his mind, because otherwise this is going to get ugly. Fugly ugly is what this is going to get. So screw you, Marco Rubio. It isn't Putin and Assad that are responsible for this, you little shit. Kay Bailey Hutchinson, the American ambassador to NATO, told reporters in Washington on Thursday that everything is on the table. This is a big development, Ms. Hutchinson said, and our alliances with Turkey, it is not with Russia. She added, we want Turkey to understand that we are the ones that they've been allied with. The attack on Thursday hit Turkish troops between the towns of Al-Bahar and Balayan, south of the city of Idlib. Turkish troops have been positioned in 12 observation posts set up over a year ago as part of a de-escalation agreement with Russia. A Turkish military convoy traveling to resupply troops came under aerial attack first, and then a building where the troops were based was struck by Abu Yahya, a senior official of the Turkish-backed Syrian fighting force in Idlib province, said on an interview. I hate all these names. The Turkish-backed Syrian fighters have made significant gains in the battles against Syrian government forces farther east recently. The Turkish-backed Syrian fighters have made significant gains in battles against Syrian government forces farther east recently. Syrian fighters, rebel fighters, freedom fighters, aka Al-Qaeda, aka jihadists, aka Muslim extremists. That's what they mean when they say freedom fighters, or they say Syrian fighters. They captured the town of Saraquib on the main M5 highway through the province on Wednesday and were engaged in fierce battles further on Thursday. The Turkish army called on its Syrian proxies to raise their readiness. The Turkish army called on its Syrian proxies to raise their readiness for operations, a Syrian media group reported. Emotions are running high in Reyhanli on the Turkish side of the Syrian border, where the casualties were brought. People gathered to donate blood and crowds chanted, "God is great," outside the main hospital. The escalation came as Western members of the United Nations Security Council in New York implored Russia and Syria to decree a humanitarian ceasefire in Idlib region. There is more this council can and must do to stop the suffering, Foreign Minister Heiko Maas of Germany and Deputy Prime Minister Alexander De Croo of Belgium told the council in a joint statement on Thursday morning. Ursula Mueller, the Assistant Secretary General for Humanitarian Affairs, told council members that the deprivations facing civilians in the northwest Syria were not humanly tolerable. Henrietta Farr, the executive director of UNICEF, who is to visit Syria this weekend, said, "We desperately need to cessation of hostilities in the northwest of Syria." So this is all Syria's fault? They're all the ones pushing all this, is what you want me to say, or you want me to believe, and you want me to think, huh? They're the only ones that have been pushing this escalation? It is. Jesus. Coming back. Oh, man. I got to figure that out. I'm sorry, guys. I got to figure that out. I'm coming back. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. I got to figure that out. I'm going to read a couple more of these articles, and then I'm going to, I will drop OBS like a hot fucking potato. I will go to XSplit or something else if this shit's going to keep happening. I don't understand what's happening here. It's pissing me right the hell off, though. Okay, so let's read a little bit on from the RT. Let's read on Russia's side of it. Okay, we heard the American side, so let's hear the Russian side. I think that's very important that you look at both sides, because if you just listen to our fake news, if you just listen to our propaganda on our side, you're only going to get one side of the story. So you do need to read a little bit from RT. Oh, I know RT is funded by Russian government. I get it. So you need to read between the lines. But let's see what the other side has to say. So this just came out, this breaking news, right? It says the Turkish troops were acting inside a combat. So before it was humanitarian, right? We need cessation. That's what New York Times is telling us, right? Well, here's Russia's point of view on it. The Turkish troops were acting inside combat formations of jihadist militants in Syria's Idlib province when they were hit by an airstrike by the Syrian government forces on Thursday. Russia's defense ministry has said. Go on to this one. Turkish VP says Damascus to pay heavy price. Actually, that's not the one I want to read yet. Idlib attack that killed Turkish soldiers was also against NATO. Consultations to start tomorrow, Erdogan's party said. The spokesman for Turkey's ruling AK party has labeled the Syrian airstrike that allegedly claimed the lives of dozens of Turkish soldiers in the rebel-held Idlib an attack on NATO, calling for the U.S.-led alliance to intervene. We call on NATO to start consultations. This is not an attack on Turkey only, it is an attack on international community. A common reaction is needed. The attack was also against NATO, AKP spokesman, the Turkish spokesman, Select told Turkish media on Thursday. At least 33 Turkish soldiers are said to have been killed in Idlib, the last militant stronghold in Syria, and in an airstrike Ankara blamed on Damascus. In the wake of initial reports that dozens of Turkish servicemen perished in the raid. Turkish President Recep Erdogan held a 6-hour marathon meeting that concluded early Friday. The military bloc itself, while pledging support to its ally Turkey, has been wary of making any promises. Apparently shocked by reports of the Turkish casualties, U.S. envoy to NATO, Kay Bailey Hutchins, reported exclaimed, "Oh my gosh," in response to the news when speaking to the media late Thursday, but dodged questions on whether the U.S.-led alliance would consider invoking Article 5, which would pave the way for a collective military response to an armed attack on one of its members. However, she said, do not miss out. However, she did not miss out on a chance to call on Turkey to tear up its deal and buy the Russian-made S-400 missiles. I need to make this bigger because I'm getting old and my eyes are too small, or my eyes don't see as great. Jeez, sorry guys. Maybe that was too big. Son of a bitch, that was way too big, and I just clicked on something I didn't mean to click on. God dang it! There we go. So she didn't miss the chance to tell Russian-made S-400 missile defense system, while also taking a jab at Moscow. They see what Russia is now. They see what they are doing, despite the fact that Ankara has not blamed Moscow for the attack. NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg was not willing to go beyond the usual Moscow bashing rhetoric on Syria, accusing the Syrian regime and its Russian backer of indiscriminate strikes and calling on them to back UN efforts for a peaceful resolution. Yet their troops are in combat formation with jihadists. Yet it is Syria that isn't backing the peaceful UN resolution. It is Turkish troops in formation, according to Russia, with jihadists, combat formation. But it's Syria that it isn't, staying true to the UN resolution. Such a joke. It says DLive is online. I don't know. Moscow has yet to comment on the state of the spate of fresh accusations by the U.S.-led alliance. Yeah, whatever. Turkey's vice president has vowed revenge on the Syrian forces after 33 Turkish soldiers were killed in an airstrike in the rebel-held Idlib province. Ankara previously said it had launched airstrikes and artillery strikes in retaliation. Turkish Vice President Fuat Oktay unleashed a scathing verbal attack on Syrian President Bashar al-Assad and the forces loyal to Damascus shortly after a 6-hour marathon emergency security meeting chaired by Recep Erdogan concluded in Ankara in the early hours on Friday. Oktay minced no words, referring to the Syrian leader as the head of a terror state who would go down in history as a war criminal, in a written statement reported to Turkey's Anadolu news agency, adding that Damascus would pay a heavy price for what he called treacherous attack on Turkish troops. Earlier on Thursday, Erdogan press secretary said Turkey has been retaliating to the attack on its soldiers by launching air and artillery strikes against Syrian positions. The media chief went so far as to compare the situation in Idlib with genocide, with the likes of what happened in the Rwanda and Bosnia. Give me a fucking break. Footage reportedly capturing recent air raids by the Turkish military on Syrian positions has circulated the Turkish media, alongside reports that some 1,700 targets were destroyed within the last 17 days of Ankara's onslaught in Idlib. Think about that. Footage purportedly capturing recent air raids by the Turkish military on Syrian positions has circulated in Turkish media alongside reports that some 1,700 targets were destroyed within the last 17 days of Ankara's onslaught on Idlib. Ankara in recent weeks has sent thousands of troops and military hardware to rebel-held areas in the province. So Ankara, Turkey, is has sent troops and military hardware to jihadists in Syria's territory. And yet Syria is the bad guy, the last stronghold of Islamic militants and extremists in the war-ravaged country. As Damascus reinvigorated its push to liberate cities and towns in southern Idlib in a bid to reclaim a strategic highway linking Aleppo to the major port and capital of western Latakia province. Despite suffering casualties, Turkey previously said it would not withdraw from the province until Syrian government pulls the plug on its offensive. So think about that. We are in again. I've said it before. I'll say it again. Turkey is saying we are not going to, despite the casualties, Turkey previously said it will not withdraw from the province. It will not withdraw from Syria until Syrian government pulls back on its offensive. Damascus has refused to do that, arguing that its armed forces are targeting terrorists there. Moscow, meanwhile, has accused Ankara of propping the militants up with artillery fire and drone strikes in violation of the terms of the de-escalation agreement that struck between Astana peace process. So the jihadists are violating the peace process. Syria is saying, we want you out of our country. We're going to get you out. And Turkey is saying, we're not leaving unless you quit trying to make us leave. That's how crazy all this shit is. And all this stuff is pushing us to the brink of a confrontation with Russia and Syria, and by default, Iran, and by default, maybe China. It could get that bad. So this is where I think it's a bunch of bullshit and we shouldn't be there at all. We shouldn't be there at all. We have no place. We have no purpose. We have no right, quite frankly, to be there. We should get out. President Trump should pull us out and we should be done with it all. Just be done with it. Get out of there. Be done with it. That is what I think. So, let me go back up here and read some of these chats, and then I'm not going to get to the coronavirus thing. I'll do another stream tomorrow night, but it's getting too late here, and I get too fired up and go on forever. I want to thank everybody that's hung out, and I'm sorry, I'm going to figure this out tomorrow. I got to sit down and figure this out. It says, SAG, no live stream on D Live, but chat is working. That's a Roger. Laugh like he's trying to ignore the chat so he doesn't get distracted. Yes, I was. I'm sorry. It's still registering live. Oh, that's a bummer. Okay. So let me go through here a little bit. Game reporting. NATO are the frontline troops whose best use is delaying the enemy. What the hell would any army forward deploy before fighting breaks out in the 21st century? There's just going to be cannon fodder. Yeah. Exactly. Oh, man, you guys got you guys were really chatting. Turkey cut off access to the social media so they can push their own narrative on their people. Yeah, that's right, Deedle. I don't know if Deedle is still in here, Deedly D. I should have touched on that too. I read that earlier. All I know is it was busy and still had the notice on my phone. I hit it and it's going. They don't want the Turkish people to get any news that will challenge the official narrative. Exactly right. Are YouTube posts posting on D Live? I wonder. They're supposed to be. The way I enacted cross-platform pollination, I guess is a way to put it, where chats on this one will, come to this one and so on and so forth. So that way, people on D Live, people on Periscope, people on Twitch, we can all chat together, which I thought was kind of cool because it's, I get a lot of chats on the ones that you guys can't see. So. But we also need to cross-pollinate with subscriptions. So people on my YouTube side, I'd like you guys to go over and subscribe to D Live. D Live, come over to YouTube. So we're always, in connection, if you will. Tigger says, Turkey is such a warped country. Agreed. All right. Killer Kyle got out of here. Mark B, are you seeing the bot repost on YouTube? Yeah. Sup, Mark? Good night, Killer Kyle. I'm fixing the car. You fixing the car, Mark? That's cool. Are you real? Question mark. Clown. Tony Skaggs. I don't know what that was in reference to. Time about water pump crankshaft. Can't say China and Russia are allies. Russia is facing massive illegal immigration from China. Yeah, but they're not necessarily allies, but they're friendlies. Yeah. No flight zones. It's funny how you can live chat all day here even after it's over. Yeah, I know. That's cool. They better pray they don't fuck with Russia. We need to stay out of it, so I hope he does stay out of it. It's not our problem. Exactly. Send Rubio over there. That's right. Careful, the feeling police will report you to their God government. Yeah, that's true. Russia is stronger than they would have us believe. I agree with you on that, Mark. Something funny about the U.S. is they have their military all around the world to protect people, but when shit happens, that doesn't. Funny thing is that U.S. involved money they pull out. I think OBS was trying to combine chats. That is why it shut you down. Maybe, but it was doing it. It was doing it before, and I didn't have them combining chats yesterday, and it was still doing it. Smart man, they pull out. So do smart men. They pull out. U.S. citizens pay the government to track them like communist slaves with their ID registration and their socialist slavery numbers. Yeah, that's true. I agree with that. The social security number. I like that social slavery number. Let the Germans and Belgians to get off their butt and act that hurts them so much. Yeah, exactly. Oh, I'm coming back. That's when I fell off because my stupid effing. I gotta go. And D-Live was offline again. Alan Spence. D-Live offline. Couldn't see YouTube chats. Copied over there. That's cool. So yeah, D Live went offline. No live stream here. No live stream on D Live. I don't know what's going on there. Sorry about that, guys. So registering. I can validate chat is working on both sites, but it's is that causing your stream issues due to multiple uploads? No, I'm following from DLive. No, it's not. It's something. OBS did this to me once before. I don't know if I have to update it where it'll disconnect when it's not getting enough data, and maybe it has to do with my data because I did a download test before I started, and I was only pulling 9 megs down, and I used to have like 50 or 60 megs down, but really it's my upload speed more than it's my download speed because I'm not really downloading anything. I'm uploading, and my upload's always been at about 6 megs up, and that's always been good enough. But I need to go through here and figure out why it's doing that and adjust that so that doesn't happen anymore. But anyways, go up here real quick and just make sure we're all caught up. Anyways, all right, guys. Well, I will, it kind of clips it up for me so I don't have to clip up. It's going to be smaller clips on YouTube now. I will, 10x less than the download. Yeah. It's, and my download is only pulling like 10 or something. So maybe my upload's a little screwed too. I need to trace back and see if I don't have a bad wire that's getting, I gotta check and make sure my system is sent. Anyways, okay, guys, that's about all. I'm not gonna get to coronavirus tonight. I'll chat tomorrow. I'll stream tomorrow. I'll get back on here and do a stream. I just don't want to keep having these problems, or people are gonna quit coming because I think I always have all these problems. Then they won't want to watch them, and I don't blame them. But yeah, I had like I said, about 60 down and 5 up or 6 up, which was pretty good for a while. I mean, but I do think I need to check I don't know if Comcast is or Xfinity has done something weird and knocked my bandwidth back down because it seemed a little slower lately. So we'll see. Not OBS. Well, but it always is like OBS is disconnected. And so I don't know, maybe I also have my settings, maybe I have my bitrate set too high or something, and it's screwing up. It's asking for more bandwidth, but yeah, OBS keeps disconnecting, but it's probably my internet, which I need to just figure out. So anyways, all right, guys, thanks for hanging out. I appreciate it. This Saturday, I'll be doing a live stream with, Drone Tech, and Robert will be on Drone Tech's channel this time. I'm going to be doing an interview on Saturday morning, and then I'm just going to record it, and then I'm going to upload it later. I'm going to be doing an interview with Dr. Shiva Ayyadurai, who's running for Senate against Warren in the Warren's district. Super smart guy. If you Google Dr. Shiva, he's a Trump supporting Republican Indian guy, wicked smart. And I'm going to do I got him to do an interview with me. So that'll be fun. I'll post that up this weekend, probably after I edit it down a little bit. And then on Sunday at 3 p.m. my time, I'm going to be on with the Patriot Hour with Mike from the Patriot Hour. So you guys can all go over there and check that out. That'll be fun too. But anyways, I will see you guys later. I'll do one tomorrow. Maybe we'll do a fun stream about wagging the moondoggy or something tomorrow. Not too heavy. And until next time, I appreciate the support. Without fear or animus, it's SJG Perspective. You guys have a good night. Thanks for hanging out. Bye.